how well can you accurately identify emotions in yourself, in others, in objects, and all that other emotional information that's out there. And there's emotion around us everywhere, in music and art and scenery and environment, in lighting, seating, that great complexity of things that conjure up an emotional setting. And the ability to pay attention to those emotional cues, to pick up the signals that are coming at you all the time, hopefully accurately, because accuracy is a really important thing here. And why do we do that? Because we're trying to pick the mood for feedback. We're trying to get information from which we can respond. People who are really good at this, of course, don't get conned by false facial expressions or emotions. So they're very sensitive to those and can be aware of them. And you'll know about people like poker players who put hats and sunglasses and everything on their face to hide their face because they don't want people to read what's going on for them. And of course, for yourself, being able to express your emotion accurately. So this is not just about you reading other people's faces, it's also knowing what your own is doing and not being surprised when people say, "Are you okay?" And you say, "Yes, I'm fine," but everything other indicator says that you're not. So this is about congruence. So faces are just astonishing and complex. Just have a look around you is my kind of simple message. I often say to people, when you walk in the morning and you say hello to somebody, why don't you just, as you walk past, just say to yourself, what did I see there? You don't have to be right or wrong, but it's habit forming. It's getting into the idea of looking and appraising emotions. It's a really nice, neat little trick to get you into the habit of looking and assessing. There's some terrific stuff from Bill Viola called Six Heads, if you could ever get hold of that video, which shows how our facial muscles are capable of producing a phenomenal number of movements. He says around about 43, and the ability to create 10,000 expressions with that amazing human face with its 44 muscles and 2 bones. So get hold of Bill Viola's stuff and have a look at that. We know from many, many years of research, and I'm particularly thinking of Ekman's research, that we have greatly varied capacity in reading faces. There are people who are just not particularly good at it and people who are astonishingly good at it, and every range in the middle. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which I'll come to shortly. But the better you are at this, the better you're able to connect to people, and when you can look at a static face, a photograph or a picture, but in normal life, we look at micro expressions. And I mean micro expressions, really quick, rapid. We have about 1/4 of a second to read a face accurately. And then there's all the other stuff that accompanies it: body language, tone, posture, gesture. So we're gathering all that data into a symbol that says this is the emotional expression that I'm seeing. Now, people who aren't very good at this, there's a lot of reasons why. One is they don't care. And that might sound kind of trivial, but it's possible that you don't care. And if you don't care, stop now, go no further. Get back to care land. Some people just don't look. It's remarkable. I was working with somebody recently who had an incredibly low ability on this. And we were talking for a half an hour before she lifted her head up at all. She had her face down the entire time. And I said, it's entirely possible that you're not very good at this because you just don't look. And she improved her skill on this dramatically just by paying attention. Some people just don't think this is useful. They're wrong, of course, but that can be a predisposition to poor reading. Some people just read them incongruently. Now, what does incongruent mean? It just means not like others read it. So the critical thing here, am I seeing it as most others will see it? Because if you're not, you're incongruent, you're reading different data. And some people can read some emotions and not others, and that would be apparent to you. Or they choose emotions that they like better than others. So for example, people who say, I'm only looking for affirming emotions, people that are positive. So there's a lot of stuff goes into this. And so we have this amazing infinitesimal changes in the musculature in our face, and they give out these incredible signals which tell us how we should respond, and we will get later looking at faces specifically so that you can work out what those incredible signals are. And this happens all the time. If you're in a restaurant, the great waiter can read what's going on before they come across and interfere. in negotiating, in giving feedback, or as I said before, playing poker and the whole concept of poker face. So facial expressions are distinct and they're predictable and they're easy if you've actually put some work into them. So the good news here is you can get really good at this. And as I said, my absolute best source for developing this is Paul Ekman's many sources and the book, the workbook. It's got a lot of stuff on how you read faces. So can you get good at this? Well, of course you can. Paul Ekman trained FBI detectives to read a lie. And at the start of that process, they just got it wrong repeatedly. And you know, it's random. It was a 50-50 prospect. And by teaching people how to read those faces for lying, that number got up to a very high number, about 93%. So it makes a point, can you get good at this? You bet you can, and you can get good at it pretty quickly. So it's got varying capacity. The better you are at it, the more you're able to interact and respond. And we've talked earlier about all the reasons why this might get in the way.